Namaste and welcome to Nikki's Toolkit. I am Nikki, and it is such a pleasure to have you share time and space with me in this energetic space where we share thoughts, ideas, tools for a supportive, wholesome, and nourishing life. So much continues to happen in our lives because life is dynamic. It is all about the ebb and the flow. And a lot of the times we don't find the joy in it because we are caught up in what I call the contrivances and the superficial constructs that prevent us from truly staying more in flow than in ebb. And even when we get in the ebb, to understand and to embrace it, to then move into flow easily, but to value the ebb for what it also brings to our life. The imbalance comes when we are more in ebb than we are in flow, or when we don't take the time to really acknowledge and honor where we are and do the things that are required to support us, whether we are ebbing or flowing. So today I want to talk about two things: bond and bondage. And so in light of everything that is happening in our lives, in light of the fact that life is dynamic and there is beauty in it, there is grace in it, there is joy in it, if only we are able to live it from and in a space that allows us to be able to not only realize but to experience the beauty and the joy of life. And I would like to ask you, what is the relationship that you have with your life, in your life, with everything and everybody in your life? Is it one of bonding, or is it one of bondage? So often we find ourselves caught up in spaces with people and with things that have been defined as essential for a living, that we've been convinced are necessary for quality life. Except that we find that while we're engaged in it, we are constantly running, we're constantly trying to catch up, we constantly find ourselves in a state of distress, in a state of dis-ease. And so it is essential for us to stop, take a moment, do an audit, and say to ourselves, what is it that is in my space that I'm engaged in? Who is it that is in my space that I'm engaged with, that I am bonding with, or I find myself in bondage too? And we have to be honest with this process, because a lot of times we do already know the answers, but we are so caught up with the superficial constructs. We are in a space of fear and shame, depending on what it is that we are. Our soul is telling us that we have to shed, we have to let go. A lot of the times we can't conceive what our life is like without the things or the people that are holding us in bondage. And so that fear and that shame often overtakes the opportunity for us to move into grace and with courage enjoy the beauty and the abundance and the joy that is life. And so there is no shame in that, because that is real and that's present. And a lot of the times it's the culmination of many years of learned behavior and of a culture that says this is what quality life means. If you are in that space and you're realizing that you feel like you're in bondage with or to a lot of the things that are in your life, then I'm going to invite you today to stop and do an audit. What is it? Are you finding yourself more in distress and dis-ease than you are in any other space? Do a check and identify, do a list and see, is this a bond or is this bondage? And once you've identified what falls into what category, then I'd like to invite you today to see how you are then going to release yourself from what is holding you in bondage and bond more to your true self that keeps you in a space of equanimity and liberation and joy and gratitude and appreciation. That is the space where we find a lot more support, we find the nourishment, and we are able to truly have quality living instead of focusing on what is defined as quality life. Thank you for choosing to share time and space with me today. My wish for you is a wholesome, nourishing, and supportive day where you have the clarity, the guidance, the honesty, and the presence to be able to identify what are the bonds in your life as opposed to what are the bondages in your life. And may you have the strength, the trust, and the support to make the choice and the choices that are most nourishing and supportive for you. As in making these choices, when we ourselves live nourishing and supportive lives, then we contribute to the nourishment and the support in the lives of all beings that we share time and space with. Thank you so much for choosing to share time and space with me. Namaste.